And that's the pre-show for today. This is the Rants of Izzo show here on Spreely TV. Now, what is that? For those who are watching, welcome. This is the video portion of the show. It's a pre-show. We just spent a couple minutes kind of warming up the pipes and talking with you guys, and appreciate you being here. We do have a chat. It's awesome to see people in the chat. Franco, Bev, oh my gosh, Kate, Scott. Well, he's in the studio. Matt's in the studio. I'm in the studio. And there's Franco with, oh, jeez. Okay, that's a good meme. There you go. We'll talk about that a little bit today. We'll talk about that one today. Sarah Nichols, April Schoen. Kids, this is the Rants of Izzo. Here's Spreely.com. Now, listen, I know a lot of you talk about censorship, big media, all this stuff, but you don't take any action. And as Matt will probably say a couple times, nobody's going to do a fucking thing. The easiest way to start doing a thing is you go to Spreely.com and you check out things like the shows we have on here for your entertainment and your viewing. You've got the Burn Pit podcast, which premieres live Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Evening Rants with Alan and Mark. The Zoloft with Alonzo. I've spoken a little bit to Shannon Joy. Pete Santilli is back. This is fantastic. There's a ton of people on there, right? And if you want to do things like social media, we've got a social media platform. Go check out the things that I've done before, like Michelle Obama's got a giant cock. It's not going to be removed ever because it's full free speech. We could do that. Also, let's do some show highlights. Do you like the show? Do you love the show? Do you want to be a part of the show? The phones are always open. We have a one-stop shop line for everything. 708-982-0974. 708-982-0974. Go ahead and call in the show. Have fun with us. Talk to us. Say, hey, I agree with you. I don't disagree with you. Fuck you, Matt, you Jew hater. I mean, you can say a bunch of shit. Whatever you want. You anti-Semitic fire. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Right. Who's that? Okay. Burn Pit Podcast. Jens, can you kind of give everybody an overview of what that awesome show is?
Yeah, the Burn Pit Podcast is Mondays at 4 o'clock on Spreely TV. Spreely's your home for free speech. You can find it on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick. Download the Freedom Hub app right to your phone or smart device. You can follow myself or Matty Wack on Instagram. We have TikTok. We're on Rumble, YouTube. But if you're not watching us on Spreely's, Monday at 4 o'clock, you're missing out because we're not going live. We don't stream anywhere else other than Spreely on Monday. So our only live show of the week is Monday, 4 o'clock, Spreely TV.
Yeah, are you getting protesters still?
We get a ton of comments. Just the one time we had people visit the studio and want to confront us.
And you're not trying hard enough.
We need to step it up.
I mean, I don't
step it up, but
I don't know what else to tell you. If you're not getting, slash tires, death threats, and shit like that, I mean, fuck. Shit. There's part of me that really wants to be sadistic and get some liberal broad out of her mind just so I can kind of like see if I could seduce her and what sex would be like. I don't know. I'm not that sadistic. Let's have a show.
Sick man.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on the show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go. Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Good afternoon. This is the Rants of Izzo show here on Spreely Media, kicking off this glorious Wednesday afternoon with the Burn Pit Podcast boys. You can listen to them exclusively on Spreely Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern, or check out their social media content. Guaranteed you will be offended unless you're not a pussy. If you're not a pussy faggot cunt, you have You're fine. You're good. It is Wednesday, and this show it's going to go sideways. We have so much to talk about today. But I'm going to ask actually in the beginning. I had no intent on this because I want to talk about the debate, your views on that, and then 9/11. It is 9/11. I don't want to do the whole normal shit where you do. I remember September 11th, 2001. I was on patrol. And when the first tower was, I don't want to do that fucking shit. I actually want to talk about some fun stuff, but I actually want your opinion 100% legitimate. I am a impulsive man, and when I get information, a lot of the reason that my social media content gets attention is because I don't think about it. I don't get information, then take a few hours or a day and sleep. I react. I did content that you'll find on Spreely.video. There's Officer Dominic Izzo videos I released for police this shit. I put a video up, or a post up yesterday because the Tyreek Hill thing is a big controversy, and I did a lot of breakdowns on it. So I posted up yesterday on my personal Facebook page, if you're stopped by the police, don't say a word, crack your window just enough to communicate with them, give them your documents immediately. If they order you to step out of the car, 100% step out of the car. Don't, for any circumstances whatsoever, answer their questions or offer any information at all. Period. Don't say anything. I want to post a response because I've kind of calmed down a little bit, and I want to show you the guys this to get your views, because I need to know, am I blowing this out of proportion, or are we a lot more in fucking trouble than Americans want to think? This is from a man named Bill Caponegro, and he's I know him. I didn't work with him, but he worked in a town that's near me. And he actually is the chief of police for the village of Prospect Heights in Illinois, northwest suburb of Chicago. It's near 294 and 53. So you get all the shit. I mean, Chicago's crap goes up there. Milwaukee's crap comes down. This is what he said. I've been a cop for 30 years. The kinder, more responsive, and more respectful you are, the less likely you'll receive a citation. We know that cops want people to bend the knee, right, and worship the boot. This part absolutely fucking bothered me, and I was extremely emotional today, like aggravated fucking blood pressure. The silent treatment will only increase your chances of receiving a ticket, unless, of course, if you know you're a DUI, then keep your mouth shut. The silent treatment will only increase your chances of receiving a ticket. Am I wrong? And you guys could tell me, no, you're fucking blowing this out of proportion. You could tell me I'm actively looking for problems to condemn law enforcement on. How do you feel about a police chief, an active police chief for 30 years, telling you if you say nothing on a traffic stop, it will increase your chances of being punished by police? Am I wrong?
Yeah, no. You are 100% right. This is the power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, or power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. They now have put themselves above the Constitution. We can do whatever you want to, and your behavior towards whatever we do to you is just justified by our standards and by the government standards. That's basically what he's saying. We can do whatever the fuck you want, and you better behave.
Well, here's the thing I have for you, Matt, is I think we all agree it's just like an unwritten code that if you cooperate and are pleasant, they'll treat you better. Now, is that how it should be? Is there somewhere in the, let's say, the law, you're a constitutional expert there, where it says, hey, if you cooperate with these authorities and these officials and you're pleasant with them and you do everything they say, then they'll treat you better. And but we know that that's the case all the time, right?
Yeah, it put it this way, and Dominic Izzo, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I could say, go fuck yourself, you're a piece of shit, pig, pussy, faggot, cunt, and they cannot treat me any differently because I have freedom of speech.
That's the way it's supposed to go.
Now, they can be like, hey, I wasn't going to write you this ticket because let's just hypothetically say what you did was wrong. Okay, let's just hypothetically say you did violate some traffic code.
Like Tyreek Hill was going, 103 miles an hour. And,
Now, and he's like, look, I'm just going to write you the ticket, or he can be like, look, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And he starts getting mouthy. And if the cop was going to not write him the ticket, because he has the power to do that. However, the guy did violate a traffic code. The cop now is like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the ticket because of your behavior. But it was legitimate because he did violate a traffic code.
That's a problem I have. How is that lawful?
Well, hold on a second, because he violated traffic code. Right. So let me ask you a question, Dominic. If somebody violates a traffic code, does the cop, if no words are said, is the cop allowed to write the citation?
100%.
Okay, now is he allowed to not write the citation?
100%.
Okay, so if he is allowed to not write it, and he was going to do that, but the guy's a dick, you just said he has a right to write it because the guy broke the violation.
But that shouldn't be the case.
Hold on a second. What I'm saying is that's not unconstitutional. What is unconstitutional is if the guy mouths off and then the cop does something further, which is illegal.
Right.
The citation we just agreed was legal in that particular situation. Okay, we already agreed to that. Whether the dude mouths off or not, the cop has a right to do that. However, what the cop does not have a right to do is anything further than writing that citation.
So if it's just a simple speeding incident, and he goes, and a guy's not cooperating, maybe he did give him the papers, but he's not speaking to him. Hey, get out of your car. Right. You're not going to talk. You're going to speak. Get out of your car.
Has no right to tell the guy to get out of the car. The cop has no right to tell the man to exit his vehicle. He has no right to do that. That's a violation of Fourth Amendment. That's a violation of his person and private property. You cannot tell me what to do with my body. Unless somebody else is in danger and he has probable cause to say that this man is violating a law. Violating a traffic violation. Traffic is not a law. It's a traffic violation.
People will argue.
The cop has no right to tell him to do anything.
Right.
Other than here's your fucking ticket. See you later.
People will argue the whole Pennsylvania people will argue the whole Pennsylvania versus Mims on officer safety, which is a load of shit, right? The problem I have with that whole scenario, if you pull somebody over for lane changing without a signal, or it's even worse. A big probable cause that we used to use on midnights in Illinois was no license plate light out, right? No license plate light. So a little 50-cent bulb, you could be pulled over. It's an equipment violation. Great DUI fucking probable cause because you never check. You never get out and check in the back of your car. So what you just said, which I am completely 100% fucking against, is it's even if it's an equipment violation, because you can get pulled over for equipment violation or moving violation. I go up there. Right. I should automatically have the decision made. Am I going to write or not? If you are polite to me and I don't write, it's a moot point. It should not matter. If you motherfuck me, it should not matter. Anything that's the hardest thing to fucking prove. Officer, did you write the citation and the attitude of the driver? No. You can't prove that. You cannot prove that. That's the problem. The bigger problem I have is a fucking 30-year police officer and a chief of police says if you are silent to them on a traffic stop, you increase your probability of getting a citation. Fucking show me respect or I will punish you.
Oh, I agree. I'm in agreement with that 100%. And if you want me to take it further, I'll even go another step further to prove myself wrong. We shouldn't even have the power to pull you over for a fucking license plate light. As a matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, Dominic, if you have not violated another human being's rights, if you have not violated another citizen's private property or violated another citizen physically,
or a risk for
no. Okay. If there's no private property damaged, if there's no public property damaged, if there's no financial loss on private or public property, where's the crime? There's no fucking victim. Mm-hmm. So my license plate being out, me going 100 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour lane. Did I hurt anybody? Did I cause any damage? Did I cause any financial damage? Where's the crime? I've not hurt a single person, nor have I caused any property damage. Where's the crime? Where's the victim? As far as I'm concerned, they don't even have a right to pull you over for anything unless you have actually done property damage, done personal damage, public or private. Otherwise, where's the fucking crime? Because there is no victim.
Am I allowed to argue that, say, going like the Tyreek Hill, if he's going 103 in a 55 or 65, whatever it is he not putting other people at risk if he's driving recklessly?
Scott,
I'm putting people at risk. I'm putting people at risk. You can say I'm putting people at risk for anything.
This is I don't know if you guys saw
Minority
this
Report. Go ahead.
Did you guys see the actual citation? the actual citation that was written. Here's the crime, because everybody says he was doing 100 or whatnot. You watch the video, it's not the case. The citation issued for Tyreek Hill was visual estimation of 60 miles an hour.
So he didn't even use a radar gun or VASCAR.
This is what this is these are cops who are fucking tripling down because they're about to eat shit.
Well, my point is, Dominic, so you're telling me there was no VASCAR system used or radar?
That's apparently not.
It was visual inspection.
Mm-hmm. And I did a whole breakdown
like he was
on
going
it.
60.
It doesn't matter. He gave him the driver's license. He said, I did a breakdown. The third cop who comes up on scene, he's the fucking problem. They look like they're gang members. They're Cubans. I think Cubans have a problem with fucking blacks. The whole thing is shitty. I just can't believe that we are still in a day and age where stupid fucking grown adults admit that you can do it. You're going to do it. But you're going to fucking publicly admit I'm going to issue a citation based on whether or not you're respectful to me. Or if you give me the silent treatment. We have an absolute corrupt system of law enforcement in our nation. And I want to know if I was wrong or not with that statement.
Well, no, you're 100% right with that statement. My point is, my point is you shouldn't even be pulling people over. At this point, if they haven't caused any damage, where's the crime? This is a famous Thomas Jefferson quote. If it does not pick my pocket nor break my leg, I care not what my neighbor does. There has been no property damage. There's been no physical damage. There's been no financial damage. There is no crime. You have no right to do anything to another human being or order them to do anything if there is no crime and there is no victim. That's just my take. I'm a crazy fucking constitutionalist Jeffersonian. As far as I'm concerned, cops should be off the fucking road completely. There should be no citations. It's a fucking racket. It's a fucking scam. It's a looting operation on the American public's pocketbook, as far as I'm concerned, because they write everything up for everything. To your point, I got pulled over twice in my life, Dominic, for a license plate light being out. Twice. Mm-hmm. Once I got a warning. The other one, I got a ticket. I had to go to court and fight, and I lost.
I hate the system.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I fucking hate it. It blows me away. The biggest argument for traffic laws that I say all the time is it's like you 90% of American citizens, they want to assimilate properly, right? We want a cohesive, nice world. It's like gun laws. Well, if you get rid of every gun law out there and go to Second Amendment, you're not going to have the Wild West. It's not going to be people shooting each other all over the fucking place. You're going to have people who just protect themselves. Same thing with traffic laws. You get rid of cops and the whole pre-crime, as if it's that fucking Tom Cruise movie, you're going to get people who are driving just fine the way they have been for fucking decades.
Yep. Minority Report.
Minority Report. Yeah, that's funny you brought that up. It's true, though. I mean, it's a well-known thing, though. It is. It's well known that if you just cooperate and bend the knee, like Dominic said, then they're going to treat you differently. They're going to treat you better. It shouldn't be the case. Irregardless, they're public servants. Taxpayer money funds their salaries, their pensions, and they are there to protect and serve. So when it shouldn't matter how the citizen reacts. It shouldn't matter.
It's called, am I not wrong, Dominic? It's called fishing. I'm fishing for a DUI, so I'm going to look for whatever I can to pull somebody over.
Yeah, I never appreciated, and I denied it like crazy. I was when you're a cop, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I'm like, no, it doesn't. But then I remember, holy shit, you constantly progressed shit. If I pulled you over for a license plate light out, while you're looking for your license, I'm actively shining my light on the floor to see if you have any green leafy-like substance or seeds on the floor. When you come back, I'm looking to see if your eyes, how they interact with my flashlight. I'm looking to see if you're fumbling and fit. I'm trying to progress. I'm actively looking for shit I can charge you for. It blows me away. I'm like, damn, how many fucking lives did I ruin because I was a good boy on on the job and just did exactly, get your stats. Got to keep that brand new squad car. It fucking sickens me. Okay, I can breathe now. I appreciate that. Did you guys see? I know. Before we get into the meat of today and how fucking I really want to hear fucking what the views are. Did you torture yourselves by watching the debate last night?
I did not.
You fucking...
I did for about 20 minutes.
You smart man and you less smart man. Good. It was a complete fucking waste of time. And all I have to say is if anybody watched it, Kamala Harris proved why you do not want condescending, emotional fucking women as cunts who are ever in positions of power. I will never vote for a female fucking president, not even if she's a conservative. Will never fucking happen. All right, there you go. We just covered the debate. I think it's pretty good.
How dare you? How dare you?
All right. Hey, 9/11 happened today. Yeah, it happened 23 years ago? Shit,
23. That's correct.
23 years ago. It was horrible. It was fucking shitty. I know that we like talking about conspiracy theories and a lot of fun stuff. I do not believe for a single second that 9/11 happened the way our government told us. I don't believe it for a damn second. I remember the day I watched it. I was working. I was a brand new cop, all this shit. And I bought hook, line, and sinker everything. But from passports being just miraculously found to the temperature of steel being, found, a suspicious goddamn fucking building being detonated behind it that was unaffected by falling debris. Do you have any considerable insight to what Americans should really be looking at this Memorial Day 23 years later?
Oh boy, yeah. There's a lot to go through here when it comes to.
Let me put it plainly: were the Jews involved?
Well, if you're talking to Scott and Matt of the Burn Pit podcast from Spreely TV, there's always Jews involved. Anyways.
But we know for a fact there were, right?
I'll let Matt get involved in this, but for me, I think somewhere around the middle 2000s is where I kind of, when YouTube started to come around in 2007, 2008, and some videos and documentaries are starting to get put out there. For the normies that just digest the mainstream media narrative, a lot of them still today, like my parents are boomers, they had no idea that a third building fell that day. And a lot of the people, and around that time, 2001, 2002, 2003, we had no clue. There's so much surrounding it. There's so much from the Pentagon to Somerset to the towers to Tower 7. There's so much to go over. And Ryan Dawson did a video, a documentary about 9/11. I believe it's like 5 hours long.
I think it's 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Okay. But there's so much to go into it. Of course, we focused before on your podcast, Dominic, with Dancing Israelis, and Matt can touch on that exactly. But everything around that day. But George Bush at that time was in Florida. He was at an elementary school. I believe it was a kindergarten class, and it's nuts. And I'm sure you've both seen this. The teacher are saying words, and you can look this up. The teacher is saying words for the class to repeat, and she's reading a book, and George Bush is sitting there, and then, his one of his handlers come in and whispers in his ear like, "Hey, the towers went down." His reaction was, he kept the poker face and everything, but the teacher, the words she was reading was like plane, building, like it's
is
weird.
That really?
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's bizarre. And then of course you have the Pentagon where the footage from the surrounding area, I'm talking about gas station cameras, things like that. The FBI was really quick to confiscate those security camera footages around where the Pentagon was. There's still not a good video today of a plane going into the side of the Pentagon. When you look at that wreckage, the debris there doesn't look like there was a plane that hit there. There's so many different things you can go into. But for me, when people ask, do you really think the government could have a hand in something like this? I refer them to Operation Northwood. Operation Northwood was a failed plan by our own defense, our own government, our own Defense Department. You can look this up, Operation Northwood. It was on the desk, actually, of President JFK, which is another reason that this guy had to go, where they were going to plan, the government, the Department of Defense was going to plan a false flag, if you will, to get us into war with Cuba. That in that plan, Operation Northwood, they were going to attack American citizens and blame it on Cuba so that we could go into war with Cuba. JFK did not sign that. He said, we're not doing that. And of course, we know what happened to him. So if you're saying, oh, the government could not possibly have been in on it, I refer to you to a 1962 operation that was going to do exactly what happened in 9/11 here. But Matt, if you want to go into the,
I mean, you're 100% correct. I can even go back to December 7th, 1941 as a false flag attack, or I can go back to
Pearl Harbor,
1915 as the Lusitania, right? False flag attack. But again, I think a lot of people, Dominic, focus on, controlled demolitions.
Steel beams don't melt.
A plane didn't hit. And I'm saying that's all fine and dandy, but I think what really people need to focus on here is who benefits from this.
Well,
okay, money. How it was done, I'm not saying it's not important, but who benefits and who would be behind that is the more important question. And as we all know, the Middle East, we went to war with, and we started taking out another certain country's enemies. Right. And we had a plan. Wesley Clark admitted this, General Wesley Clark, to take out so many countries in so many years.
7 countries.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Iran was one of them. They still have not been able to get Iran, but it looks like it's going to happen very shortly, isn't it? But again, to his point, the dancing Israelis, in my opinion, is one of the most important pieces here. Here you have 5 men on top, and I forget exactly where they were stationed. I think it might have been top of a parking garage on a roof, the top level of a parking garage. I could be wrong about that. Irrelevant. They were on top of this building with a video camera aimed right at the Twin Towers, recording the Twin Towers before they were even struck. A witness, a lady who could see these men from her own house out of her window, thought it was odd that they were up there, but she didn't care because, again, nothing happened. As soon as the first plane hit the first tower, this lady obviously looks out the window to see it because she can see clear as day. These 5 men are jumping up, high-fiving each other, and quote-unquote dancing. Well, guess what happened? She calls the police, and she could even see the license plate number on their white van, which was labeled Urban Moving Systems. She calls the police, the New Jersey, I think it was New Jersey and New York police, pull them over because she got a direct identification of the van and license plate. It gets pulled over. Explosive residue found in the vehicle. These men admitted to being Israeli nationals. This is the police report. Anybody can look at. They said we were here to document the event, unquote. This is not conspiracy. These are documented facts. Nobody disputes. 2 of them are Mossad agents, Paul and Yvonne Kurtzberg.
That's right. 2 of the 5 were.
Urban Moving Systems was a front company that didn't even exist. It only existed on paper. Guess what happens?
What happens?
Later on?
Yeah.
Fox News, all these mainstream media news, television news agencies report on this. On 9/11, on 9/12, the entire story is scrubbed. No one ever reports on it ever again. Right. Deputy Director Homeland Security Michael Chertoff, about 6 months later, again, he's Jewish, with a dual citizenship with Israel, lets them go home free back to Israel, which, by the way, all 5 of these gentlemen failed polygraph tests. These are all facts.
You look at the owner of the World Trade Center there, Larry Silverstein. They call him Lucky Larry. He took out a new insurance policy just weeks before, making it the largest insurance policy on any type of building in New York City. And it was weird. It was a Tuesday that 9/11 happened on. And he normally has lunch or breakfast in that building around that time. He said he had a dentist appointment that day. That's why he didn't go to breakfast that day. Of course, he never went to the dentist appointment either, which is weird. But there is a group of engineers. There's a group called Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. It is a bunch of engineers and architects that will dispute and will argue with anybody that wants to argue with them or debate them that what happened there with the towers, also Tower 7, is structurally impossible. That was a controlled demolition. That's actually, the website you can go to is ae911truth.org. And there's a list of every engineer and architect that have signed on to this, and they will debate anybody about the fact that debris, especially with the World Trade Center Tower 7 collapse, it collapsed at free fall speed. Yeah. And these brave architects and engineers are saying there's no way possible that steel structure, we all hear jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, all this other stuff, but they're saying you see the explosions coming out of the windows when Tower 7 collapses. It's a controlled demolition. Even Tucker Carlson recently was on the Sean Ryan show. Sean Ryan said, hey, you can find footage of a BBC reporter reporting on the Tower 7 falling, and Tower 7 is still behind him. It hasn't fallen yet. It was actually a female reporter, but still behind her. It hasn't fallen yet. And Sean Ryan asked Tucker this question, like, am I crazy here? When I notice these things, he's like, first of all, how dare you for even noticing? That's your fault. You shouldn't even have to ask that question. So there's so much surrounding that day. And then the months, years, even after. They didn't even add Tower 7 into the 9/11 Commission report, I believe, until 2011. Yeah. Which is 10 years after the fact. Yeah. So there's so much surrounding it. How you cannot question this, how people just blindly believe the official narrative after there's all this evidence out there, especially with social media now, YouTube, X. It's like, come on, wake up. Well, like, there's enough around here where it's like, come on.
We actually have a question. You're live with us. What do you got going on?
Yeah, hi, Dominic. Really appreciate you having me on today. I did ask you the question whether Matt had seen the Fox News report, and listen, again, he did touch on that briefly. But I did want to mention one thing to Scotty. You don't even have to go to Operation Northwoods. You can look at this specifically from the Clean Break memo written in 1995, where neocons were discussing the survival and expansion of the Greater Israel Project. And they talked about taking out Iran, Libya, Syria. And the same group of individuals wrote the PNAC documents, Project for a New American Century. Richard Fife, Douglas Pearl, Paul Wolfowitz, where they discussed expansionist plans in the Middle East and taking out these enemies. And they said this would not be likely, though, without a new catastrophic event, like a new Pearl Harbor. And as we both know, Pearl Harbor, there's all kind of funny business around there. So, I know you guys touched on a lot already, but, holistically, you can't point at one particular thing and say, oh, there's Israel. But when you put everything together and you whiteboard everything, it's almost undeniable to come to any other conclusion that Israel is the prime suspect. To the dancing Israelis, to Odigo messaging firms, warning Israeli nationals and U.S. domestic Jews to exit the building. Fox News even reported on this. Mainstream news articles in the mainstream American media reported on this, Odigo messaging systems. And it was also demonstrated and documented in the commission documents, which some of have been declassified, that these Mossad agents were following and even in some court cases escorting these terrorists that took over the planes around America. They were following them and also escorting them. And I would suggest anybody to look at the documentaries by Ryan Dawson, War by Deception, and also the other one, 9/11 Missing Links. So, again, appreciate the call in, and
thank you.
I'll listen from here on.
Is there anything you want to plug or promote? I like giving people the opportunity to, if you got a business or something, go ahead and plug it.
Nothing to plug. I'm a fan of both your shows. I tune in every week.
All right.
So keep up the great
work. You
work.
are clearly not a pussy faggot cunt.
I am not. I have a PFC shirt myself.
Thank you. All right, man. Thanks for calling. Appreciate that.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah.
He's 100% correct. Again, we could spend hours on this subject, which we don't have. But when he talked about the project for the New American Century and the Greater Israel Project, which, by the way, kind of is representative in the Israeli flag. The blue line on top of the Star of David and the blue line on bottom represents the Nile and Euphrates River, which that entire region is the Greater Israel plan within that area that they wish to conquer and take over. But to his point, he brought up the project of the New American Century. Wolfowitz, Pearl, all those guys happen to be, guess what ethnicity? So he's 100% right. All this is documented. Fox News touched on it. A lot of these guys admitted to this on camera and on paper. So this is no longer conspiracy. You have all these facts. It's kind of like the O.J. Simpson trial, right? The blood in the Bronco. You have all the evidence. He's guilty. Well, the
glove doesn't fit.
The glove doesn't fit. So
he must have quit.
You have to be at this point. If anybody is aware of all this information and looked at it objectively, with not having an emotional connection to anything, you come to the conclusion that Israel was definitely behind they were behind it. And if you don't come to that conclusion, you are either a fucking retard or you're lying.
Well, to the thing, I think you have to recognize is pattern recognition.
Yeah.
Which even going back to, Matt brought up the Lusitania. The Lusitania was kind of the launching pad for getting involved in World War I. Same with Pearl Harbor. Same with Pearl Harbor, right? In the court of public opinion, the United States government, in its history, and at least the last century and a half or so, there needs to be an event that you can convince the American people to get on board with going to war. So Pearl Harbor is an example of that.
Gulf of Tonkin.
The Gulf of Tonkin, we now know, is completely it never happened. They admitted to that, and it never happened. Jesse Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota, he talks about that all the time. He brings up the Gulf of Tonkin. And it's true that you need something to convince the American people, which is why Operation Northwood was a thing. They need something to convince people to get on board with going to war. 9/11 is an example of that. They need something in the court of public opinion for the American citizens to be okay with sending their sons and daughters overseas to die for another country.
Yep.
You left out
the greatest.
I'm sorry, you left out the Britannic, I think it was, the Titanic sister ship, and how there's a big new conspiracy theory going around.
That was the Olympic.
There, the whichever ship was supposedly, and all those Jewish bankers that canceled last minute before boarding the Titanic, and their competition just happened to be on it.
That's just a coincidence, Dominic.
And the three bankers who were against the Federal Reserve were on it.
We're on the ship. That's right.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But, again, I need to make this clear to everybody, because they know where the Burn Pit Boys stand on Israel.
You hate everything. Jews. How dare you?
Right. It's funny because that's what they always say, but you know what they never do? They never prove us wrong.
Yeah, I tell you, that caller, very educated.
Yeah, very educated caller. That he was on top of everything. And he's right. There are two good documentaries. Ryan Dawson's War by Deception, and the other one is 9/11 Missing Links. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing America he was their greatest ally.
Blows me away. It blows me away when you think about that. It's I don't know. It's not gaslighting, but it's the same thing that they're doing with Kamala Harris. And some big blue check mark said this, and we said it weeks ago. She is a fully manufactured political candidate. She has no validity, no experience, diversity hire, but she is more popular than Obama right now because the media did a great marketing campaign on her. When you really look at it, I've always wondered, when it comes down to promotion of cultures, in this case we're talking about Jews, why are we elevating them so high? Is it to cover up for the shit that they've allegedly done so that we say, how dare you? You can, same thing with racism. How dare you acknowledge that 52% of the violent crimes are actually from 6% of the population? Because if you say 13, you're talking black men and women. It needs to be more 6 because it's black males. How you can't do that. So
that's an excellent point.
Is this nonstop?
Point.
Well, that's my question. Is this nonstop? How dare you? These people they could never, it's not fathomable that they do this because 6 million of them were eradicated during World War II. They would so I have to wonder all this time if that's why we've elevated them so high so that they are above suspicion.
100% why we've elevated them so high. There's a professor from St. Mary's College of Notre Dame. He has a great publication. It's called Culture War Magazine. His name is Dr. E. Michael Jones. He's a brilliant mind. He's an educator. He wrote a book called The Holocaust Narrative. Mm-hmm. And they've been able to use that event in history to manipulate people into not criticizing that entire group or ethnicity for fear of being labeled anti-Semitic. And that's the truth. And nobody wants to be labeled a name. We've already talked about this a million times. We'll talk about it again. I'll put it on repeat. I don't care. It's the truth. You get bullied into being quiet and shutting your mouth for fear of being called a bad name. Matt and I, the Burn Pit Podcast on Spreely TV, where we can speak freely. You can call us any name you want. We do not give a shit.
Just not.
And that is the bottom line. You don't care.
Because no one has proven us wrong. And they know they can't prove you wrong because that's why they use the name calling, Nazi, anti-Semite, racist. And to your point, Dominic, it doesn't even have to be the Jewish thing. If you point out 6% does 52% of the crime, you're a racist. Okay, fine. That's cool. Am I wrong? They won't say no, you're not. They can't. So they use name calling. There's a famous book written by a socialist Marxist, and his name was Saul Alinsky, and he wrote a book called Rules for Radicals back in the 60s.
He was a mentor, actually, of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Mentor of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And first of all, he had these rules for radicals. And in that book, one of his rules was when you cannot debate your enemy, your political enemy, resort to calling them names and polarizing that name. It's a tactic. And Saul Alinsky was what ethnicity, by the way?
Ring the bell.
Okay.
Ding.
He dedicated that book, Dominic, and it's in the book, to Lucifer.
It's true.
I'm not joking. Anybody can look it up.
Shut the fuck up. I got to look that up now.
It's true.
Go look it up. Quote, this is to the first radical that ever lived, Lucifer.
Right.
Oh
and it all comes back
awesome.
to Marxism. It's all rooted in Marxism. And when you look at the founding and what the doctrine is and where it's rooted in Judaism. And that's a fact. It's very, actually, especially coming from a Christian, it's a very uncomfortable topic to speak about.
Oh, because you're not allowed to vilify him. You're not allowed to. Right. Yeah, we had that. I had to reset, so I appreciate the. Sorry to hang up on you before we got another caller. You're live with Scott and Matt, the Burn Pit Podcast boys. What do you got for them?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Not too bad. I'm kind of busy, though, at the moment. I just wanted to ask if you guys are still optimistic about, like, saving the country from, I guess, I don't know, communism or whatever the fuck you guys want to call it. I do got to get back to work, but I'm, kind of listening while I'm working. I don't have much time. Yeah, I just thought I'd call and ask. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thanks, man. Thanks for the call.
What was the question?
The question was, do you think the country can be saved from what we're facing now, which is, he said, I don't know if it's communism, whatever you want to call it. Is there any saving the country now? Is that accurate, Dominic? Is that fair? Question?
Yeah, he texted it out too. His question was, without my cheaters, any chance you guys are any of you guys optimistic at all about the future of this country, and do you think it's worth saving? Fucking, I am all about letting Kamala Harris get elected so we can just pull the trigger and get over with, because I've probably got a good 15 years. If I'm going to be 50, okay, so 70. 70 is my benchmark where I'm no longer able to really be that combative. So let's get this shit over with now.
Well, I can make the argument that it'll end faster under Trump. Again, he'll get us into World War III a lot quicker because he's more apt to go to war with Iran. A Democrat president would not want to lose their base by going to war for Israel. Not that she wouldn't do that. It's just it's not politically savvy. and it wouldn't make sense. She would not be able to get the country behind her if she was to be elected. However, let me answer his question. Are you optimistic? No, not at all. Not at all am I optimistic. Does that mean you give up? No, it doesn't mean you give up. Can the country be saved? Well, sure, it's possible.
Is it worth saving?
It's not probable. Worth saving is just in the eye of the beholder. That's an opinion. Right now, as it stands, I mean, you can say probably not because everyone's so fucked in the head. However, more and more people are waking up. The stuff we talk about would never have been discussed 10 years ago. Never. More and more people are waking up to discussing this. Colonel Douglas McGregor just started talking about the truth and facts behind World War II. This guy's on Fox News all the time. Judge Andrew Napolitano, he's a prominent figure in the media being in interviews. Retired Colonel Douglas McGregor.
Right.
He starts saying the facts about World War II. Tucker Carlson has that historian on last week. He starts speaking the facts about World War II. More and more people are bringing Candace Owens. You have all
Ryan Garcia.
Yes, all these prominent figures now. They're questioning everything because they're starting to see the information. And I said this on our last podcast. There's an old famous quote, and it says, you can fool some of the people all of the time, and you can fool all of the people some of the time. But you can't fool all of the people all of the time. And this is where we're coming to. Will it be saved? No idea. However, there is a glimpse of, quote, hope, unquote, which I don't like that word because it's a depressing word. However, more people are waking up. To this caller, to answer this caller's question, it's possible, but it's not probable.
I got to say, first of all, thank you to both those guys for calling in today. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
For calling in. But I'll for the first part I'm going to answer is this is worth saving. My answer to that is yes. I do believe this country is worth saving because where else is there left to go? Where else is there where we have even a semblance of what the Constitution is? I know the Constitution isn't followed by really anybody today, and nobody is adhering to it. But this is still kind of the again, use that word, the last hope that we have here. It is kind of depressing to say that. And I do think people are waking up. And I do think there are things we can do and steps we can take to try and turn the tide. Information is this information warfare that we're seeing now today, especially with X. There is some positives you can look at and say, hey, some information is getting spread here that's really good. And people are starting to wake up, whether it's on TikTok, X, podcasts like yours, Dominic, like ours. I think it's good to have these conversations. But we've detailed a plan here. Matt specifically has detailed a plan as a militia guy that runs his own militia here in Allegheny County and Washington County, that it has to start at a local level. To change on a federal level, that's, bleak. But on the local level, starting at your county, even in your local municipality, trying to eradicate any of this cultural Marxism at the local level, that's the first step. And then going beyond that to where you can have these kind of safe haven townships or counties, and hopefully that spreads. But eventually here, as we've detailed in the past, people are going to have to make a decision on whether or not they want to live for the now, and they want to be selfish and say, well, I'm pretty comfortable right now. I got a good job. I have some shekels in the bank. I have, my sports ball. I have my internet porn. I have all my entertainment, and I'm pretty comfortable now. But you have to start thinking about generationally down the line, which is what our forefathers were concerned with, which is, what about my children? What are my kids' kids? What about the next couple generations? We keep, kicking the can down the road, so to speak. Everyone uses that with the economy, but you can also use that as culturally. We're no better off than we were. That's the first question in the debate last night. Are we better off 4 years ago than we are now?
You didn't get an answer to it, and I want to bring something else up really quickly. HRTV, which is a 5.1 million follower platform on Instagram. He or she is DMing me as we're speaking because he put up a meme that Ohio police have no credible reports of Haitian migrants harming pets, contrary to J.D. Vance's slams. And I put in the comments, they're 100% are, learn their culture. And he winds up, he's DMing me, and he's fucking nonstop. Sir, Haitians don't eat cats. Go learn their culture. Also, the American woman that ate the cat. Blah, blah. I mean, he's been, for the last 5 minutes, been DMing me back and forth. This is an important issue to bring up because firsthand, this goes synonymous with the Trump back when he was campaigning in 2016, saying that they're sending over their Mexican rapists, and people got all upset about that. And I've said this many, 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 many times before. I think we talked about this on an episode. The culture for rape and incest in the Hispanic culture underage, it's insane. I love the people who are going to be believing that millions of migrants, illegal criminal invaders, didn't get just dumped on U.S. soil. Maybe their funding on their debit cards ran out, and these fucking people are going to be looking for food in strange places, and they're going to be taking geese and ducks and your fucking wandering dogs and shit out of desperation because they came to the land of opportunity that's supposed to be paved with streets of gold, and now they're out there doing God knows fucking what. You're talking about culture. It's just an interesting segue that this wave of how many millions of people we have coming in, people have no clue. They are not your friends. They're not fucking safe. If they're not now, they will be robbing you, breaking into your home, raping your children, fucking robbing your wives, eating your wives. I'm so sick of people not believing what other cultures will resort to do when they're desperate. They shit out fucking doors, for the love of God, and they're not going to eat your pets. So it's interesting you brought culture up when these people are in massively denial.
Yep. You import the third world, you become the third world. And I saw your post today. You basically said that in one of your Instagram posts. It might have been a picture of your Twitter post, but people just won't wake the fuck up, and they are still depending on the government to fix this. That's the problem. If it's we, the people, we're the government. And if these faggots called law enforcement get in the way of you protecting your family, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to just roll them over, brother. You're going to have to run them the fuck over. And trust me, you have the numbers, they will move out of your way. You want to protect your culture, your family, your country, your entire way of life, law enforcement ain't going to fucking help you. They get paid to actually resist you protecting your family and your country. And this is what needs to happen. And no one listens to me. No one wants to listen to me. Why? Because everybody is a fucking coward. Trump will save us. Under Barack Obama, 8 years, 500,000 illegal immigrants per year came across the border. In Trump, under 4 years, 1 million over a million illegals came across the border per year. Under Biden, now you have 12 million over the fucking border, not to mention the refugees being brought in and facilitated by our government, the people seeking asylum that are being facilitated by our government, and whatever quote unquote legal immigration from all these third world pieces of shit. And I'm not saying all of them are like that. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we're up.
Stop saying that shit. Stop saying that shit. Not all. I'm so fucking tired of it. If a majority of a culture is a certain way, dude, why?
I have to apologize to you.
Man,
you're 100% right.
You were legitimately in that moment a pussy faggot cunt. I cannot stand that when somebody sits there and says, all right, when I go, man, women are whatever. Well, not all women. Fucking you bleeding gashes. Shut the fuck up. It's a characteristic of your gender.
No.
Oh, I hate that.
You're right. Now, listen, you're right. And it's got to stop. I've said it on the burn pit. All immigration has to be cut completely. It has to be cut. I mean, not one motherfucker should be able to come in here. Then we start deporting people. That's what needs to happen. And it's not going to happen. Why? Because we're dependent on Trump to do it, or because no one's dependent on a Democrat to do it. And the Republican Party of this country, the faggot Republicans, still think Trump is going to fucking fix this problem when he proved over 4 years to exacerbate the problem worse than Obama did. Now he wants to tag green cards to college degrees.
That's right. You get
for illegals.
You get a diploma, you get a green card with it. That's what he wants to talk about this last week. The left is for immigration in any form. The right is for immigration as long as it's legal. And the comments we've got on some of our TikToks and things like that is, well, we've always been for legal immigration. Okay. But now it needs to stop. Now we need to have like a 10-year.
Oh, my God. The inn is full.
Pause.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't fit 15 pounds of shit in a 10-pound bag.
That's right.
That's it.
You never see my ex. Fucking 15 pounds of shit in her ass. Fucking bitch. I'm so fucking ridiculous.
Dude, the thing about the ducks and the house pets being eaten, we talked about that on Monday. The mainstream media seems to hold the water for like all these migrant stories to try and like squash any of that stuff. But X, you can go onto X and literally see body cam footage of these officers dealing with this people.
Yeah, and people claim she's not Asian. It's like the dog thing. For a while, Facebook was allowing horrible fucking torture videos of dogs from other cultures. And I actually am kind of thankful for it because I'll never forget there used to be a website called consumptionjunction.com 20 plus years ago. And I saw this still photo of a fucking Asian woman stepping on the head of cats and rabbits. And I'm like, and it really fucked me up for a while because I was not able to comprehend that. And now they show, like this was 5 years ago, you see these videos that would automatically start playing on your timeline of dogs being boiled live and the yelping and the screaming. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm so desensitized to it because those dogs are already dead by the time it gets to me. It doesn't bother me anymore. But the outrage of people who they act like they're going to fly to fucking China, Mongolia, or wherever this fuck this is and do something about it when this is their culture. This is literally a season time of where they harvest dogs, tie their front paws behind their backs so they can't move, hang them from fucking trees and boil them alive. It's a tradition and a culture. But you don't believe that doesn't continue here. Like for some strange reason, you allow these people to cross your borders, and once it magically steps from Mexico into fucking the United States, well, oh look, let's go get some tea together and sit down at a restaurant where I'm going to put my napkin in my lap. You think their fucking behavior just immediately stops. That's how stupid the average American citizen is, and it blows me away.
You're such a racist.
I'm a pussy faggot cunt.
Yeah. Also, to the IQ, the average IQ of a Haitian is somewhere in the neighborhood
67.
I was going to be generous and say 68 to 75, but it is very low. And low IQ, we've talked about this, is directly correlated to violence, impulse control, all that stuff.
There is a chart. There is an actual chart with the IQ breakdown.
Yeah.
And from 55 to 69, Scotty and Dominic, which 67 falls between, is considered mild mental disability.
Retardation?
That's where Haitians fall. Mild mental disability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're mentally retarded. I'm sorry. I'm tired of that fucking word being vilified. No, if you're retarded, it's you're slow to progress. So we got a bunch of fucking retards roaming around the country without their handlers.
They couldn't even stand trial, to be fair, because I believe you have to have a certain level of IQ to actually stand trial for like murder and rape and all this stuff. They would be considered ineligible to even stand trial for some of this stuff that they're doing. They would have to go to like some sort of like institution.
Yeah, even 70 to 84 is borderline mental disability.
70
it's borderline retard.
Borderline retards.
That's 70 to 84. They're well below.
Name. Oh, they're doing. That's the name of your next T-shirt.
I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up.
That's your next T-shirt. It says borderline retard, and people are like, is that the name of the band you're in?
Coming right now.
I would wear that one to the fucking gym. Borderline retard. Fuck. Holy shit! I'm so fucking done. This world is fucked. Would you just? I don't know. I'm hoping that I'm hoping the asteroid hits before November 5th or whenever the election date is, and we could just go out from there. Or Putin push the button.
Apocalypse.
Yeah,
I'm hoping for a zombie apocalypse. Yeah.
Dude, I can't run anymore. Like I'm like my body physically can't fucking run. So I'm like, all right, and then I got to start like sharpening my swords and shit, man. Because eventually you run out of ammo. Eventually you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to operate with a fucking 3-foot razor blade, you got
machete. You got to get yourself a good machete.
I have a good machete.
I've got 2 machetes. 4K bars, and I've got fucking several swords, and the right to bear fucking arms while I take yours.
Giddy up.
That's how that is.
Giddy up.
All right. Burn Pit Podcast is live Mondays, 4 p.m. Eastern here on Spreely TV. You guys got any notable guests coming up on Monday?
Join us live every Monday at 4 o'clock on Spreely TV. Spreely's your home for free speech. Stands for Speak Freely. 4 o'clock Mondays on Spreely TV. It's on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick. Myself and Matt Wakulik are live every Monday. It's the only stream you're going to see us live ever is that Monday at 4 o'clock. Go to Spreely.com. We're on Channel 1. You're going to see guests on there like Ian Smith, Lucas Gage coming up. My brother-in-law has been on there a few times. UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell. We constantly have a rotating guest. Dominic Gizzo has only been on once because we're a bunch of pussy faggot cunts. So we need to have him on again.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We need to have him on again. Yeah. We're on here also too. Rants of Izzo show every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Wednesdays are our second favorite day of the week, but I know they're Dominic's favorite day of the week.
I'll publicly admit it. Wednesdays are my favorite day of the week. It's pretty much that. All right, fucking holy shit. I want you pussy faggot cunts of the world who are not supporting Spreely. Go to Spreely.com. Check it out. Check out the other awesome shows on there like Report and Opine, Shannon Joy's show, Evening Rants, and so many more. Tomorrow, we got Lola back in tomorrow, so God only knows what she has to say about shit, but it's always awesome. Have a great damn day, guys. Go out and help somebody today, and if you can't help them, don't be a pussy faggot cunt and hurt them. See you guys.